In the previous video, we added the veins for the side of the head. So in this video, we'll go ahead and begin adding some darker blotches to the overall skin tone of the face. Okay, so here's where we left off in Photoshop. Okay, so we've got the base color for the skin. We've got the veins painted in for the side of the head. Now we can go in and start to add these darker blotches to kind of give this skin a little bit more variation. Okay, so I'm going to make a new layer. And we can go ahead and just call this dark blotches, or just something to where you can tell what it is. Misspelled blotches here. Try that again. Okay, so we've got our new layer made, and what I want to do is pick a color that's a little bit darker than our overall skin tone. Okay, so what I can do is just go to my color picker. Let's just choose, I don't know, one of the darker areas of this. Okay, and we'll just make this a little bit darker. Okay, so now that we've got a darker purple color chosen, now what we need to do is go in and fine-tune a brush that will work for these darker blotches. Okay, so first thing, let's go ahead and select the brush tool. Let's go to Window, and let's take a look at the brushes and see what we have to choose from. Okay, what I'm going to do is just go up to the brush presets, and let's first of all try to find a brush that will work for sort of these just skin blotches. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Oh, shifted on me a little bit. Let's go back down, and I believe it's this one, the Splatter 46 pixels. That's actually pretty close to what we need. It's a decent size, not too large, not too small, and we can definitely, I think, make this work. So with this Splatter number 46 brush selected, let's go down to the brush tip shape. Okay, now we have a whole lot of options that we can adjust from here. One of the things that we can adjust is the spacing, which by default it's going to be set to very low, so you wind up with one continuous streak. But we really don't want that. We really want something that's a little bit more natural looking. So let's first of all take this spacing up quite a ways. Usually when making these skin tones, I try to adjust it to the point where these different brush patterns just barely start to touch and overlap. Okay, so in this case it's going to be about 60%. Something kind of like this. Okay, from this point we still have a little bit of adjusting to make because it definitely still looks like a repeating pattern. Okay, so let's go over to Shape Dynamics. Okay, and as soon as I click on Shape Dynamics, you can see how in my preview window this updated to this tapered stroke. And that's because I'm using this Wacom tablet. It automatically picks up that pen sensitivity. And in this case, the size jitter is going to be set to pen pressure for me. So if I turn that pen pressure off, now it goes back to that full-size stroke. Okay, if you wanted to, you could actually adjust this size jitter so that every paint dot that it puts down is a little different size. Okay, I actually don't want that though. The one that I want to adjust is angle jitter. And as I take this angle jitter up, you can see how it's rotating each one of these different instances of this paintbrush. Okay, so if I go ahead and take this angle jitter all the way up, you can see now it's got a very random feel to it, which is a little bit more natural. Okay, but we can still get a little bit better, I think. I think if we go to Scatter and give this just a little bit of scatter, let's take a look at this. Okay, that's not bad. We can make that work. Okay, so in order to finish this off, let's go down to Other Dynamics. Okay, and for me, I'm going to link the opacity to my pen pressure. So that way as I push really, really lightly, I can manage to sort of taper these blotches off and really blend them in to the skin tone. Okay, so pen pressure is linked to opacity. And on my darker blotches layer, now what I can do is just start to slowly, very lightly come in and then start to increase the pressure and just sort of darken up a few areas. So I'll come in and darken up these areas over the eyes, sort of in this eyebrow area. I can come in and start to add some blotches down the center portion of the head and just sort of bring that out a little bit. And again, I'll kind of taper these off as I go and try to blend this in and make it look as natural as I can. Okay, and we can definitely come back and refine these probably in the next video. Okay, so now I'll come in and make just a few more quick blotches, like say around the lips. Kind of darken up that lip area a little bit more. Okay, and I'm using just sort of a medium pressure right now, not really pushing very hard. Okay, so I'll go ahead and continue all the way up and around, and pretty much all the way completely around the lips. Okay, so we'll go ahead and meet up in this area where I left off. So now, if I go ahead and were to turn off this UV snapshot, you can sort of see where we're at. Now, still doesn't look like much, but we can definitely add on to this in the next few videos. But let's go ahead and see how this looks so far. Let's go ahead and save this. We'll go back to Maya, preview this, and see if things are going the direction that we want before we get too far into it. Okay, so now we've actually, you can see where these darker areas have now been added to this color. So in the next video, we'll spend some more time refining these blotches and probably adding further blotches to the skin.